Do you anticipate having a quorum?
Bill Wilson told me last night he was gonna be here, so.
They definitely do. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's definitely true. You're gonna do great. Do you want me to wait, Joe? Yeah, let's give it a couple.
Bill Wilson said he was gonna be here tonight.
Just came in, so let's see who that is, and then we'll go. It could be picking up from basketball too.
Could be.
You're good? All right. All right, I think we'll get started.
Salary
Okay, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
3%.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, we'll start off, I'm going to call us to order, and then we can go around. I call to order the meeting of the Hamilton-Wenham Regional School Committee at 6:35 PM, Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. We'll go this way to Wenham.
Hey, I'll call the Wenham Select Board to order, and present Peter Clay, Deidre Parati, and Gary Cheeseman for a forum.
I call the Wenham Finance and Advisory Committee here open.
All right. Looks like, not yet?
Not yet.
No? Nope. Okay. All right. We'll get started, and we may get back to you at some point. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is a great opportunity for us. I feel like I'm really, it's very loud. Does it seem super loud to you guys? No, I don't know, can you, is it? Okay, good, all right, that's fine. Good opportunity for us all to get together, all the quintuple boards, and have a really good initial budget conversation. So first on the agenda is the town of Wenham.
Yes. Thank you. So FY27 budget, we're just talking general issues and challenges going forward. Obviously, we're in the early stages of the budget process. Information presented here is preliminary and could very well, you could say likely change materially over the next 6 to 8 weeks. The Wenham Select Board's goal is to develop a fiscally responsible budget that supports level or near level service delivery while staying in the confines of Proposition 2.5 and anticipated new growth. We estimate, is estimated to allow for approximately 3% year-over-year growth in total available revenue for FY27. We should note that this presentation only covers operating budgets for FY27. As is the case in most years in Wenham, any capital requests will be covered with certified free cash. Contractual obligations, trash collection, health insurance, and pension costs are the key drivers for the FY27 budget. As we'll talk about, the top 3 sort of drivers are trash collection, health insurance, and pension, however. We have one union contract we will be negotiating, that is the library. It's too early to project any possible impact thus far. We start negotiations in January, so that's another thing I wanted to mention.
Great, thanks, Joe. So Joe kind of covered things at a high level. We'll dive a little deeper into some of the details. Obviously, the biggest driver for us, half of our budget, is the Hamilton-Wenham School District, which we project to go up overall with loss of E&D, extra maintenance, and things like that, 11.52% for the year, which is roughly $1.5 million. One of the big issues for us is apportionment. We are shifting a little bit on apportionment from Hamilton to Wenham, and while it's a small number, it's less than 0.5%. When you apply a small number to a big budget, it equates to a somewhat large number. So in this case, we think about $150,000 would shift to Wenham, strictly according to apportionment, if the budget didn't change at all. From there, as most of you are aware, there's really the 3 big drivers of the budget that I'll let Vinny get into in more detail. But it's just the operating budget increase for the district, the reduction of the available E&D to offset that assessment, and then some deferred maintenance and safety at some of the school buildings. So that's kind of the biggest driver for us. Another smaller number, but sort of variable for us, is the Essex Tech assessment. Last year we had 18 students at Essex Tech at roughly $19,000 a student. We're assuming that it will have a similar growth rate or COLA on the per student cost, which is about 4.32%. Which could drive the budget up $15,000 if we have the same number of students. With that being said, the overall budget could fluctuate up or down maybe $40,000 based on losing or gaining 1 or 2 students. Probably similar to Hamilton, one of the bigger drivers in our budget is the proposed change with the trash collection. We are working on there's 2 parts to that. There's the collection side, which we think right now, based on the negotiations we've had, could go up 17% or maybe $75,000. There's also the disposal side of trash management, and we entered into a contract with Wind Waste Solutions just a few months ago, and that is kicking in about a 19% increase or $19,000 for us. And while those numbers might seem large, just a couple years ago, Hamilton, Wenham, and many other communities were hearing that their trash collection costs could go up, 60 to 80%. So we're actually fairly happy with these higher numbers that you're seeing. A new development that we just learned, thanks to my friend Wendy over in Hamilton, is that the Maya healthcare premiums could be going up 16 to 22% on top of what was a 19+% increase last year. So that would be a big driver for us, maybe $200,000. But that, is something we're going to have to look at, because, those year-over-year increases, not only for the town, but for the employees, is going to be a little bit tough to swallow. So we're hoping to meet with Maya and get some better news and maybe look at some different solutions there. The final big ticket item for us is the pension costs. We are members of the Essex Regional Retirement System. We typically start off budget season assuming a 10% increase in our pension assessment, which would work out to about $118,000. We'll get firmer numbers on that in mid-December when we get our apportionment letter where they take our pro rata share of all eligible payroll divided by the eligible payroll for the entire Essex Regional Retirement System to tell us what our actual increase will be. A couple of other items, we're sort of projecting some healthy conservative estimates for increases for our joint programs with Hamilton, the permitting services and the recreation. That's a $33,000 increase at this time, but, I'll work with Wendy over the next couple of months to tighten that up. The remainder of the budget drivers, it's really, contractual obligations and COLA. We settled with 3 of our 4 unions last year, DPW, call, fire, and police. And I would say on average, the COLAs are averaging about 3%, but you also have step increases, and we've had some promotions within the police department that will sort of shift a little bit higher based on folks having higher degrees and things like that. We're planning on 3% non-union COLA to sort of match the union members at Town Hall and all other non-union positions. And as Joe mentioned, the library is negotiating. We'll probably be starting in January, so it's a little too early to tell what the story will be there. Final piece for us, it's a small number, but several years ago, the town adopted a plan for OPEB where they contributed $10,000 in year 1 and increased that every year by $10,000 with a plan to be fully funded, which will be, after we fully fund the pension system, we will sort of we'll take those resources and apply them to our OPEB, OPEB trust to expedite the funding of that obligation. Everything else at this point, pretty much level funded. So if you want to go to the last page of my slide there, Vin, it just sort of lays out what we project our budget to look like. For FY26, ultimately, we were about $220,000 under the levy limit. Based on all the preliminary numbers we have so far, we are looking at operating expenses increasing at just over $2.2 million across the town operating budgets, the Hamilton Wenham School District and Essex Tech. That works out to overall about an 8.8% increase. We are assuming, we'll keep our overlay the same at $200,000. State aid, we're assuming will stay level. And then we're building in a 5% increase for our local receipts. With all that being said, we would need to raise $24.3 million from taxation, and we are at a levy limit of about 23.2. So as we stand right now, the town of Wenham would be about $1.15 million over the levy limit. This is probably the first round of somewhat sour news you'll hear tonight, but I will say, we always do start high and sort of come down over budget season, so I am quite sure this number will be whittled down over time as we, continue discussions. That's all we have.
Great, thank you. People have questions? Okay. Thank you for your work. So, does Hamilton want to go?
Guess we'll jump into it.
Okay.
I can't promise I'll be as quick as Joe and Jeff were, but I'll try. I've only got a few slides. Vinny, I'll let you know when to switch. Thank you, and good evening, everybody. Obviously, we are still at the very beginning of our budget process, but there are a number of concerning signs already. Next slide. This is a quick look at our revenue outlook for FY27. This does not include free cash or potential new revenue related to the proposed zoning change at Gordon Conwell. You can see from the top line, we are projecting a modest 2.53% revenue growth for FY27 over current fiscal year to a little bit more than $42.1 million. As has been noted, we recently had some discussions, and we're carrying a number in our budget for the school department based on some information that they've shared with us. And if we just take the potential school assessment for Hamilton and apply it against our projected revenues, we're going to start with a $1.4 million deficit on its own. This would create a reduction in town spending of nearly 9.5%. That is before considering town side expenses. Next slide. Here we can see some of the known increases for FY '27. I say known, but the only thing that is known is that these items will all be increasing. Except for the contractual increases for employees, the other increases are presented as a range. Taken together, they represent about $850,000 of new spending for Hamilton, not because we're increasing anything, but because costs that are either contractual or beyond our control are going up. In anticipation of these factors, the town has already been working to find new revenues and reduce costs. Slide 4, please. Here are some of the things that the town has done or is doing to try and reduce the pressure on our taxpayers. Next slide. Regionalized Emergency Operations Center, potential savings of up to $350,000 in the first year. Potential special revenue from Gordon Conwell. That money wouldn't go into the general operating fund budget. It would probably be directed to a special revenue fund, as it's one-time money and our financial policies wouldn't allow us to spend it in the budget. And potential increase in tax revenues from Gordon Conwell. The number on the screen is just a guess. We've had a range of $150,000 to $750,000 until we know, until the zoning passes, until the apartments sell to a private developer, and until we know what kind of rents they're going to charge. We can't really make an accurate estimate on what that property could yield for revenue. I will say that the 18 units of brand-new construction on Willow Street only gets the town about $63,000 a year. We could assume that per unit, you wouldn't get that much from the 50-year-old apartments out at Gordon Conwell. So we took 350 in here, and we're hoping that we could get there, but we'll have to wait and see what the property sells for. Two of these items obviously have a potential to impact the budget positively. I'm going to cover that stuff. If we can realize $350,000 in revenue from the Gordon Conwell apartments and save $350,000 from regionalizing 911, the town would be within $100,000 of managing our potential $800,000 in increases. But that still leaves the potential $1.4 million increase on the school side. So after we've already done all these other things, we're still going to be looking at a hole if the budget you're looking at goes through. Last one, please, last slide. In summary, the key takeaways at this early phase are shown here. The initial projection for school department spending is not supported by local revenues without an override. Hamilton has already taken steps to create new revenue and cut expenses. Based on those efforts, we believe Hamilton could find a way to absorb the town side increase in expenses, but there is no scenario in which the current projected school expenses could be absorbed without an operational override.
Thank you.
Like Jeff said, more cheery news.
Do people have questions for Hamilton?
What's the number of units in Gordon Conwell?
It's 209.
I guess I just had a question about the trash. Both of you mentioned the trash. Is that how many years is the contract? Do we know? Like how many
Previous
years?
contract was 10 years, but it seems like they're only looking to get 5 years now. The previous contract was signed a little under duress. If people, this predates me and Jeff, but people remember Hilton went under and left the towns holding the bag. So the towns, Hamilton and Wenham, went out and were able to get Casella to come in on a 10-year contract. But that landscape has changed. Like Jeff said, 3 or 4 years ago, they were talking about 40 and 50 and 60% increases. Because it's so volatile, they don't want to do 10-year contracts anymore because it puts them in a bad place for their operating. So they're asking for a 5-year contract. And as Jeff said, they're looking somewhere in the 16 to 20% increase range at least.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's just more like the word semantics. In the key takeaways, it says the initial projection cannot be supported by the local budgets without a school department override.
Yep.
Does that mean a town override? Because we can't override.
It would be an override to support the schools because we've already.
But the town, the voters,
Town voters,
just, I want to be very
yeah,
clear.
the town
We are
voters.
not able to override
Oh, no,
anything. Okay.
obviously, right, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Other questions? Okay. Looks like you're up. Vinnie? Talk about the Hamilton Wenham Regional School Committee Department budget.
While Vinny's setting up, I'll take a second here to say, all these slides will be presented to, no. Just kidding. He's got a smaller deck that he'll present, but we wanted to make sure that everybody had every single thing available to us now. So this is a lot of information. Not all of it will be shown in Vinny's presentation, but we still wanted to make sure that everybody had everything that is currently available related to the school budgets. And as with the towns, we are still in the process of still modeling out our budget, waiting for things like insurance and retirement deadlines and Medicare payments and things like that. So we'll also be shifting the numbers as we go, as we all understand, but just wanted to be clear that the presentation will not be all these slides you have before you.
Like an actual.
Is there a bug in here? Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thanks to the two select boards and the two FinComs from both communities, obviously the town administrators and town managers, their finance team, both directors, obviously my school committee, and a special thanks to Eric Tracy, our superintendent. Obviously here to present to you the superintendent's preliminary FY27 budget recommendation. Just to go back to that main word there, preliminary, we know there are a lot of hard conversations that are going to happen over the next 2 to 3 months, and a lot of difficult decisions before our final budget is approved in February. So again, this is just our preliminary budget, and it will change between now and that final approval in February. But what do we look at when we go to build our budget? It's mostly the same as what both communities go to look at. Our main driver is our collective bargaining agreements. These are agreements with our 5 unions in the school committee. That's where we go to look for our COLA adjustments, any of our step increases, and our column and lane changes. Again, these 3 items is what drives most of our increases in expenditures year over year. We also go and look at our individual administrative agreements. These are agreements with our non-union personnel. So all of our administrators, our central office team, and all of our principals. We also look at any retirements. We are not notified of retirements until December 1st. So those numbers are not incorporated into these figures, but that is one thing we go to look at when we build our budget. We also look at staff turnover, what we budgeted for in FY26 to what actually is occurring today. Usually there's savings year over year, and we roll those savings forward into the next budget cycle, FY27. Just like both communities said, we look at our health insurance, our current enrollment, and any changes to our premium rate increases. We recently underwent a 10-year contract for transportation. FY27 will be the 2nd year of that contract, so those increases are already laid out. We would then look at any of our out-of-district tuition costs, changes certified by the state, and any changes in our enrollment and what students we have coming in and who do we have graduating. Next, we would look at any requests from our building principals or department heads, and then lastly, the conditions of our buildings and our grounds. For this year, we have a few unique difficulties, some of them the same things we see all the time, every budget cycle. However, there are 2 unique items this year that are bringing us more difficulties, but just some things that we're seeing. We do have an increase in our resident enrollment again. It's up slightly at around 2.3%. We're continuing to see the enrollment shift towards Wenham and away from Hamilton. The biggest difficulty this year is FY26's decision to use E&D to avoid an operational override at the 2025 annual town meeting. And then how do we adequately fund a base for our maintenance and repairs and projects, considering the results of our recent school building vote? And then last, just like everyone here is seeing at home in both communities, the rising cost of everyday items between increased inflation, tariffs, and just cost of regular salaries increasing is driving the cost of everything up. So just to briefly hit on enrollment, you're seeing here in front of you the change for Hamilton year over year. They had 1,068 students during the 2024-2025 school year, and they are up to 1,087 for for the current school year, which is an addition of 19 students, or roughly 1.8% increase for Hamilton's enrollment. In terms of Wenham, they went from 564 students in the 2024-2025 school year to 582, an increase of 18, or 3.2% for them. So combined, for the district's resident enrollment, we went from 1,632 to, 1,632 to 1,669, an increase of 37 students, or roughly the 2.3%. But that's not all the students we educate. We educate 72 more students, 54 of them being school choice in, 17 pre-K tuition in, and 1 special ed tuition in student. Between those two populations, we're seeing a decrease of 4 students year over year, or roughly a drop of 5.6% in that category. So when you layer in the new enrollment on October 1st, 2025, and apply that to the prior 2-year average, we're coming up with a new 3-year rolling average of 65.51% Hamilton and 34.49% Wenham. That's a shift of $152,000. What that means, if we just rolled forward our FY26 operating assessment at a level funded approach, meaning we didn't change anything in terms of our expenditures, we would still see an increase to Wenham right out of the gate of 1.2% and a drop in Hamilton of 0.62%. Just to give you a point of reference, last year we saw a $130,000 swing going towards going towards Wenham. The year before that, we saw a $24,000 swing going towards Hamilton. So it is larger than the prior 3 years and is something we've had to deal with during this budget process. Just to jump into some of our expenditures, for our operating budget expenditure summary, you see here broken down by DESI category. We are recommending an increase year over year of approximately $3.1 million, or 6.84%. You can see our main drivers are our operations and maintenance, and our benefits and fixed charges. So this $3.1 million does incorporate an additional maintenance request of approximately $550,000. I'm going to briefly go through each of the individual schools. Some of it's repetitive, so I'll try not to repeat it during all of them, but just to give you a brief idea of where these additional requests are coming from. At the Bucher Elementary School, we have a special project scenario of approximately $37,000 in total. At this time, we're estimating $20,000 for a security vestibule. Now, you will see this at all 5 of the schools in a moment. We are hoping to secure funding to upgrade our security infrastructure at all of the five schools and install security vestibules. Each school has a different layout in their front entrance, so each school has a different price tag on what we anticipate that's going to cost. Out of the 5 schools, 4 of them, this funding would go to install the security vestibule. At one of the schools, the middle school, it is funding for a study to find out how we can install a proper security vestibule. Because of the way that front entrance is laid out, it will not fall into our current plan, and we really need an expert to come in and design how we can lay that out to beef up our security at the middle school. In addition to the security vestibules, at the Bucher School, we have a new kitchen floor behind this door over here. It is very wavy and has had some upheavals in the past few years. It really needs to be ripped out and reinstalled. We also have a request to install ventilation in the nurse's office down the hall over here. We have an increase in our maintenance repairs of approximately $27,000 and an increase to our custodial and maintenance supplies of just under $10,000. Now, depending on whether we do these maintenance projects in-house or whether we contract them out, would fall into one of those two buckets. If our own maintenance department does it, it would fall under the bottom. If we outsource it, it would obviously fall under the maintenance and repairs. This type of scenario is how all 5 elementary schools follow. So again, I will try not to be too repetitive. At Cutler, we have the security vestibules again. We also have sprinkler repairs. So at every building except the Bucher, we have a sprinkler system. There is not a sprinkler system in this building, so there's no repairs obviously needed here. However, all of our schools are past their 5-year inspection period, which we will undergo in FY27, which is very costly, and we anticipate needing repairs all across the district in order to maintain the sprinkler system. We also have a request at Cutler to replace one of the door systems over there. The reason for the price tag is a set of 4 doors that needs magnetic locks installed and needs the electronic key cards put in, and that becomes costly when you start adding in the security that our doors now need at the school level. Again, we have our maintenance and repairs and our custodian supplies. At the Winthrop Elementary School, it's the same with the security vestibules. Here we also have the need to install a burglar alarm. All of our schools currently have a burglar system except the Winthrop Elementary School. With the way the world is today, we would really like to install a burglar alarm system at the Winthrop School. We also have the same thing, the sprinkler repairs at Winthrop. Moving on to Miles River, it's really only the security vestibules there, and as I said, this is a study, not the actual install. Moving on to the high school, the price moves up a little bit. We have our security vestibules, but the big ticket is our sprinkler head replacement and repair. So a few decades back, all of the sprinkler heads that were installed at the high school were recalled. We did not replace them. And now that we are up for our 5-year inspection, we are predicting that most of them will fail. Once you have one of them fail during your testing, you're forced to test all of them and go through a replacement project. So right now, I believe there are over 70, I think it was 70 sprinkler heads that are past, that were recalled, that we are hoping to replace during the next budget cycle. We also have the massive gym divider curtain that broke last month. It divides the middle school portion of the gym to the high school portion and also separates the gym courts. That is no longer operable and needs to be replaced. Again, we have our maintenance repairs and our custodial supplies like the other buildings. So again, that $550,000 we are requesting in maintenance is included in that $3.1 million number on the previous slide.
Hey, Vinny,
Yes, you can stop me so I can breathe.
or Eric, what do you get for the security vestibule? Like, what is it, just another sort of set of glass doors in addition to the door that's already there, and that then becomes a vestibule? Is that kind of what it is?
Basically, it depends on the school. You know, the Winthrop would probably be an L-shaped glass vestibule with locked doors that would have to be buzzed in, so there's some electrical that has to be done, and they generally don't go floor to ceiling, because if you walk in the Winthrop, the ceiling is gym height. It's really high, so they're high enough to keep somebody contained. Here at the Bucher, if you walk in the front door, it would really be one panel across with a door that has a buzz-in, buzz-out feature as well.
Well, while the whole price tag seems expensive, $50,000 or $30,000 doesn't really seem to me like you're going to get much for it. Like, is it really going to add a layer of security?
It will absolutely add a layer, because you can't just walk right in. Right now, somebody can walk into any of our elementary schools and you're in the building.
Yeah.
You can bypass the office at the Cutler, because the office can see you out the window but may not know which direction you go. Winthrop, same thing. You can walk right in and just keep walking. Same with the Bucher. So we'll add some containment, which is an important piece of slowing things down. If you look at it from a perspective of gunfire, no, it's not something that would be designed for that. That would be cumulatively much more expensive.
But is it part of the inspection that we would need to have advanced security protocols?
Part of the
Like, when we have our inspections, is that something they're going to look at, the security?
no, not generally, but depending on what direction you decide to go with a building, if you're doing a renovation, you would get a much greater depth of design, because you really want to be able to speak to someone face to face, keeping that person in the office safe as well. While you're interacting with someone who's coming in, you don't know who generally. A lot of times we know, oh, that's so-and-so's mom or dad or a grandparent, but there are people that come to the buildings and our people don't know. So this way they have that layer of face-to-face security. They can still identify them, get their credentials, and then still contain them in the building. They can't go any further than those vestibules.
Yeah, so my question is, should we be spending more on the security, not less?
Yeah, I think the reality is trying to figure out what to do with our buildings.
Yeah.
Once we figure out what to do with the buildings, that would be incorporated in some type of a design, whether it's a renovation and renovation addition, whether it's rebuild. It's really going to come down to what we decide as communities to do with our buildings.
Thanks.
Because essentially what you're going to put in, you're going to take out over time. You put in a vestibule, that vestibule may not be part of a renovation, for example. It may be something more substantial. A renovation could relocate the front door in some cases. So you're really putting in, for 150 grand, you're covering 4 out of your 5 schools for now having the containment ability, because when you look down the road, say you start with one school, pick any school, start there, do some renovations, the other schools are still waiting, so this is the fastest way to get something in place for what's a reasonable price.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, Vinny,
Yes.
why is the maintenance and repairs for Miles River so much higher than all the other schools?
There is more. I could certainly look into that. I would probably have to ask our maintenance director what he listed in there that is higher than the other schools.
Okay, thanks.
Benny,
Yes.
I have a question. Talking about the Bucher Elementary, the $10,000 for the new kitchen floor, is that something that's done in-house by the maintenance crew here, or is that something that would need to be contracted?
Something at that level would probably have to be contracted. It's not just tile replacement. If it was just replacing the tile, our in-house staff could do it. We're probably going to have to jackhammer up the floor, which we will not get into ourselves.
Okay. But you do try to do as much in-house as possible?
Yes, we currently only have 2 maintenance staff members. They're not licensed in any specific trades, so we are limited on what they can perform, but as much as we can do in-house, we try to do.
Okay, thank you.
Keep going. So just to hit on some other major expenses other than our additional maintenance requests, obviously it's our staffing. Year over year, we are seeing an increase of approximately $2.1 million. If you compare this to our 26 budget, our total payroll budget for FY26 was approximately $27.5 million. If you factor in that staff turnover that I mentioned before and some other staffing changes that occurred in FY26, we're actually seeing a reduction of $360,000. So this year, we saw a large turnover in staff that ultimately turned into salary savings that we are saving in FY26 and rolling that forward into FY27's budget. We have a minor swap out for FTEs. This is simply swapping out a half an FTE of a special ed teacher to half an FTE psychologist. Usually psychologists come with higher degrees, higher experience, and are a little more costly on the teacher salary schedule. We also have some additional changes to our stipends for approximately $29,000. The only new staffing request is for a .4 special ed administrator for a portion of the year, which is coming in at an estimate of $57,000. We have I call it an extreme uptick in long-term substitutes. Our long-term substitute expenditure line last year was overexpended by over $120,000. We are utilizing long-term subs for maternity leaves at a higher rate than we have seen in the past, and therefore need to substantially increase that line. The next two items are around our collective bargaining agreements. Our column and step advancements are coming in at just under $300,000. Again, for this line item though, the deadline for column advancement is not till December 1st. So I do anticipate that number will grow by the tentative budget in January. But without a doubt, the biggest item on here is our COLAs coming in at just under $1 million. This is extremely large if you compare it to other budget cycles. This represents alone almost a 3% assessment to the towns from our COLA alone. So our new FY27 budgeted payroll comes in at $28.7 million, up around 4.2%. We are not alone, just like the towns are seeing, but not to the extent the towns saw. Our health insurance is growing at a rapid rate. Personally, I do not understand how health insurance can continue to rise at this rate without something else giving, not only in a small school district's budget, but for everyone at home. I really don't understand how everyone can continue to take larger portions of their paycheck towards their health insurance, but nonetheless, this isn't a Hamilton-Wenham problem. It's probably more of a society problem, but nonetheless, I don't know how it's going to continue to do this. But to build our health insurance budget, we just simply look at how many people are enrolled in our plan as of a certain date for our preliminary budget. That was who did we have enrolled on October 1st, 2025. We just multiply that out by exactly what our cost of each plan is currently. That total gross amount comes out to $4.1 million. If you from there simply add in our premium rate increase, which we have a 9.9% rate increase for our Medicare plans and a 12% increase for our regular premium rate, adds $477,000 into our health insurance alone, just from our premium rate increase, which is substantial nonetheless. In addition to that, though, the district is moving from a 63% contribution to a 65% contribution. That then adds an additional $123,000 to our health insurance line. Just those two moves alone comes up with your approximately $600,000 increase to health insurance. That makes our FY27 preliminary health insurance budget of $4.7 million, which is up 15.5%, which again is probably the largest increase in any one category within our budget. And I'll say it again, it is not sustainable. Yep.
63 to 65, was that part of the negotiations, the contract? Yeah. And how does that compare to other
We are low.
schools?
Most people are between 70 and 80. Most school districts contribute between 70 and 80%. So we were 60 2 years ago. And we've been 60 for as long as I've known.
So that speaks to your ability to attract good.
It hurts us.
Yeah, it's hurt us over and over through the years, and the reality is there are 2 pain points. The cost, if I have a new teacher coming in at $62,000 who needs a family plan, they just lost their first $15,000 to their health insurance. If they take the PPO plan. Some people have to do that and try to figure it out, but there are a number of people in the districts who work for their health care. We've had instances where people have paid us at the end of the week to keep their health care.
So you think we're probably low by 5%?
Approximately, yeah. The average is generally in this area about 70. Some of the bigger cities go a little bit higher.
I think I know what a step advancement is, but I don't know what a column I think I know what a step advancement is. I don't know what a column advance is.
So I could certainly pull up the salary schedule, but just to make it easy, if you're looking horizontally on our salary schedule, it would be like a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or if you have additional credits, you move over columns. So as a teacher goes through their career and takes more college credit courses, they can move columns and earn a higher salary.
Second question, where are the pension costs for the school staff? Where do those show up in the budget?
So they're within the detail in your packet, you can find that specific number. We have two pension systems for our employees, the Mass Teachers Retirement System, which the district does not contribute to. That is a state-funded pension system, so everyone's income tax money helps fund that pension system. The other one is the Essex County, just like both towns are members in. That we do contribute to, and I believe the number off the top of my head is about 1.4 million, but I can
Yeah, it is.
give you an exact number in a second. Is that 1.4? I think it is.
But is there a line that rolls up to? I'm just...
In the detailed packet, if there is a line that it rolls up to. I only told you the difference year over year, which is about 143. Let me just find it so I'm not giving you the wrong numbers. So it's on page 24 of one of your handouts, which is the account detail. It lists out all 600 of our accounts that we use. It's the benefits and fixed charges. I can bring it up on the screen if you need me to. Again, it's page 24.
It's 24 of the last packet.
Last
so it's
packet,
like-
not the packet you have in your hand right now.
The one that looks like an Excel spreadsheet. Probably is.
Oh, okay.
So for FY '27, we have budgeted $1,478,000. That's up about 11%, which is the exact percent increase from the prior year.
Thank you.
Yep. So did I finish this one? I did. So we are up 14.5% on health insurance. Okay. Moving on to our revenue sources. So this chart here is excluding excess and deficiency, which I'll talk about in the next chart. But if you completely remove our excess and deficiency amounts, year over year, we are seeing strong revenue growth at a bigger percent than I believe we've ever seen in the past, at around 7.5%. The two main drivers you can clearly see here is the funding we get from the state, both through circuit breaker and through our Chapter 70 aid, where combined we're seeing almost an increase of $600,000 when you add the two of them together. So again, outside of excess and deficiency, we are seeing a lot of revenue growth year over year, which is obviously a good thing to help lower assessments. However, the biggest difficulty we are facing this year is our reduction in E&D. As many of you were here last year, it was decided to fund to offset our FY '26 operating budget with one-time revenue funds through our excess and deficiency account. In FY '26, we offset a total of $2,088,000. Right now, an uncertified E&D amount I am estimating at $830,000, which is a reduction of approximately $1.2 million, which really is the exact reason you don't want to use E&D to offset your operating budget. You should always use E&D, just like the communities use free cash, to purchase capital items, one-time expenditures, not things that reoccur every year, like salaries, which is what we did last year, in order to avoid an operational override at the April 2025 town meeting. So now we are faced with how do we deal with that $1.2 million deficit. Just to go back, I do believe this number will increase slightly. Again, this is an uncertified amount from the state. I do anticipate it'll probably move up to about $900,000, but just to mention that, but nonetheless, we are still short about $1.2 million, which completely flips our revenue year over year. You saw in the prior chart, revenue growth of 7.5%. When you factor in E&D, it's a reduction of 7.5%. If we don't do anything else, that funding, there's no other place the school district generates funds. That funding would fall upon taxpayers if nothing else is to budge within the budget process. So again, that is without a doubt the biggest difficulty we are facing for our 27 budget. So just to roll up all our operating information here, we had our FY26 starting point of about $46.5 million. You add in our increases, which includes that additional request for maintenance of $3.1 million, gets you to our new FY27 total operating budget of $49.7 million. Reduce our revenues if you held E&D flat, gives you our operating budget after offsets of 39.7, but then again, we have to factor in that shortfall in E&D, which adds back that $1.2 million, which brings our net assessment to just under $41 million. When you apply that, the new enrollment shift, it's an increase to Hamilton of $2.4 million, or roughly 9.81%. An increase to Wenham of just under $1.5 million, or roughly 11.83%. So that was the operating side. Very briefly, I'm going to hit on the debt service side. For FY27, we have 3 less projects. In FY26, the current year we're in, it was the last payment for this Winthrop sprinkler system, the FY21 capital projects, and the first authorization of $250,000 for the Cutler feasibility study. Those all ended in FY26, leaving only our 4 remaining projects that you see here, which again, you apply the same split as our operating budget. Add these 2 numbers together, the end result for our preliminary FY27 budget recommendation, combined for Hamilton is an increase of $2.4 million, or the 9.63%. And for Wenham, $1.5 million, or 11.6%, and the district as a total, just over $4 million, or 10.32%. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Vinny.
Well done. Let it soak for a minute.
Anybody have any questions?
I want to talk about the high school roof, if you have the ability to do that.
Sure.
When you're ready.
Sure. So I think everybody here knows we've been working, we were accepted into the MSBA program, ARP side this time, to repair the roof for the high school. We've been trying to do that for a number of years. We've been doing repairs and repairs and repairs. Now this is for a full replacement. Actually, was in a meeting yesterday afternoon where they finalized some of the numbers. Full replacement of the high school roof portion only is $10.2 million. And the all-in possibility for a grant from MSBA is about $4.4 million. I don't have the exact round numbers, but that's roughly where we are now. So the MSBA would contribute $4.4 million of that $10.2 million to replace the high school roof only.
So 5.8, what was on the town?
5.6 approximately, yeah.
Yeah. So that would come to town meeting as a override.
Right, once we get it, we haven't been fully approved by the state yet. In December, they have their board meeting, for the MSBA board meeting. They will take the numbers that we finalized yesterday, bring it to the board will approve it, then we would process it as a request for debt exclusion at the town meeting in April.
So we would make the April meeting.
we are on schedule to make the April meeting so that we can start the project in July. The project's so large, it will not be finished in summer.
Right.
It'll overlap into the school year, so our target would be to start it as soon as we could in July.
So the only thing that's certain tonight is that we're going to have a $5.6 million bill to float some bonds to fix the roof, to be split between two towns. So that's pretty much
5.8, right, John?
5.8.
5.8, yeah.
So that's a definite come into town meeting.
No, it's not. It has to be approved by the MSBA still, so in their December board meeting. If they approve it, then it would come to the committee to determine whether to bring it. The committee would still have to make that determination and vote the authorization.
So if they do all the positive votes,
The intention is to have it on the warrant for town meeting.
Okay. So that's a pretty solid number right now.
Right, yesterday I had one of the last meetings to finalize the numbers with them.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask everyone a question? So my school committee has not seen this budget presentation. They don't see it till tomorrow. Usually the way our budget calendar falls, a few years ago, we agreed that this meeting would be the meeting before Thanksgiving. But the way the calendar falls, they haven't even seen it yet, and I'm presenting to you guys before I present it to them. Do you guys have a standing meeting the first Wednesday in December? If not, I would like to change this meeting from the meeting before, the week before Thanksgiving, to just the first Wednesday in December, so at least they get a chance to have it presented to them, ask questions before they have to come in here.
I mean, if I was on the school committee, I would be giving you some grief.
Exactly why I'm
The
asking.
Capital Finance Committee.
The Capital Finance has seen it, yes, but not the full committee.
Right, no, logistically, it's a little bit challenging because we're seeing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we will probably have more in-depth conversation about it tomorrow, but that's after this meeting, which is...
So it seems like nobody has like a standing meeting the first Wednesday of the month, so if it's okay, next year, probably just going to recommend it's the first Wednesday in December.
Well, that works so long as it's before the first Saturday in December.
As long as it's before.
Because the first Saturday is the budget, town budget, Saturday morning meeting. So looking at the calendar, if the Wednesday before Saturday works fine.
Okay.
And even that's tight because we'll, you almost want that budget packet in hand on Wednesday, but, but the flip side of that is our budget is much more fully formed by that first Wednesday in
does
December.
this year, but it might not always.
Yeah, the second is the first Wednesday.
Right, so that works, that works
That works
for
next year,
2026, but it's that's a really important,
Eventually it
Doing a
will,
leap
but
year.
that's like 6 years away.
For the next 2 years, it'll work.
Next
Yeah.
year's it'll work.
right, but if we were, in other words, it sounds like you're saying, like if we were to think about rewording how we do it, it's the first, you're saying, Gary, if I'm getting you right, you're saying what would work would be the first, it needs to be the first Wednesday
Before the first Saturday.
before
in
the first
December.
Saturday, so if there is no such thing, then it would need to be in November.
Yes.
So let's keep an eye on that.
Right, we just, yeah,
Go ahead and-
It mainly answers my question. You're comfortable with moving it?
yeah, for next year, yes.
Yep. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Eric, yeah.
Question over here.
Oh,
So any update on solar work at the high school or middle school?
So we have come out of this, just for people, this is, I think, 3 years running now, 3 years been going on. We signed an agreement 3 years ago, the school committee, with our solar company to install a solar canopy on the middle school parking lot side, so to the left side where the middle school is, part of that parking lot, not the whole entire thing. The solar canopy went through several years of study through the State House. Our HWCAT group has been pushing hard to get it out of study. It looks like it's out of study now and moving forward possibly in January to be able to start to say we're getting closer, we have authorizations, but we don't have an actual target line when we can say it's going to happen. If it does come into play, it saves a lot of money because we end up signing a 25-year contract with a locked rate for electricity off of that solar canopy. The other piece of the high school roof project is the state now requires all roof projects of school buildings to have some level of solar readiness. So built into the cost that's fully covered by the MSBA is the actual wiring and tubing runs for solar readiness, so that if we decided to add solar panels to portions on the roof that could hold solar panels, we would move forward that, and it would already be kind of plug and play. They would put them up on the roof and plug them back in. So I don't have a definite timeline, but we are out of study, which is the hardest part of the process, trying to get out of a study with National Grid. So does that help?
Thank you for the update.
Yep. It is possible we could see something in January. We're really at the whim of National Grid.
Do you have something else you wanted to?
I'd like to add, if there aren't any other
Oh,
questions about
do
the
you have
school
a
budget.
question? Yeah.
I had a question about, there's been a lot of listening sessions that the school district has been doing related to the new building, or kind of dealing with the school buildings and their state and what the process might be going forward. Does the school committee have any plan to kind of formalize what that is? I know that the towns have funded studies to the tunes of millions of dollars in the past, and to kind of analyze these buildings. Are we anticipating something like that again for this, or when might that be addressed by the school committee?
Answer.
Yeah.
No.
So last committee meeting, I was tasked with, by the committee, to come up with a plan to put those things together. We'll see that at the December 4th meeting of kind of our plan of moving it forward. Really trying to lay the groundwork for what to do next. A study is one of a number of options on the table. I don't know if you go back, I can actually send it to everybody. If you go back to the last school committee meeting, there was a memo in there, a 4-page memo about some of the thoughts about the process and some of the things that we need to look at, and just trying to keep that ball moving forward. So after that presentation, the committee tasked me with putting together a process to bring back to them to start moving in some direction. We'd ultimately like to have something ready for the April town meeting for some level of discussion or some level of vote. We're just not sure what that is yet.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Question, do we have statistics on the total school-age population in the two towns so we can determine the number of kids that go to private schools?
So the answer to that is yes. We do that in January, though. We finalize the numbers with the state. The process for the state is called the October 1 report for public schools, which we get our numbers. Our enrollment this year is up a little over 2.1%. I might be off by a percent, but 2.1% is where we're at. We're up to 1,706 students. Now, when you factor in all of the children that live in the community, our job between that October 1 and January is reaching out to any school that we can find a connection with to see where kids are going to school, so we know where the majority of them go. It's called the school reporting report. We have to submit it by law. So we will do that in January, and I can give you pretty solid numbers. You have, between 300 and 375 kids that are in the community who don't go to public schools. And that doesn't mean they go to private schools either. They could go to the tech. They could go out of state to schools. There are kids that school choice into other places as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you give a sense of what those trends look like over time? Has it been pretty stable? Are people coming back towards the schools?
So I have right up on the front screen now, I can just look at this enrollment chart. This covers 2013 to 2024. To the left of the chart, in blue is our pre-K to 5. In 2013, we had 808 students pre-K to 5. 2019-20, So that COVID year, we had 867. It dropped immediately down to 773 and is now up in at 853 right now as of October 1st of this year. You're seeing smaller bumps at the middle and high school level. So the middle school is in red and the high school is in gold. But you'll see just a little bit smaller jump.
But what's your sense of how much of that is just general demographics versus people actually coming back to the public schools?
So it's hard to say. I can say from home schools, we've brought in about a dozen kids off of the homeschool rolls. There's usually approximately 40 kids that are homeschooled in our two communities, and this year we brought in a dozen kids. We brought about a half dozen kids back from private schools this year as well. So it's I wouldn't call it a trend, only because we're in a community that has lots of options and people who can afford some of those options. So oftentimes it's just a choice of I want my child to go to a private school or a school outside of Hamilton Wenham. Yep.
Finish.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, sorry. I just want to ask for the assistance of all 5 boards. We are in the middle of a study being done by the Department of Education, requested by members of the State House, to examine the Chapter 70 funding. That's the way schools are funded for state funding. And if you looked at the last school committee meeting, you may have seen this chart that's up front. This is the chart of Hamilton Wenham Regional School Districts, school Chapter 78 versus what's actual spending. Actual spending is the top blue line way up here. You can see where my cursor is. And the Chapter 70 state funding is this low red line that doesn't change very much. Districts under 2,500 that are small like ours and regional are really being penalized in the way that they develop and process the Chapter 70 funding. As you can see, it has not really changed for our school district, where some of the bigger school districts will get multi-million-dollar increases every single year, year over year. We just don't have the demographics that you need to drive the formula in a positive direction for the district. They include a whole number of statistical factors, like how many L students do you have, how many students are low income, what is your equalized housing value in your communities. So when you start to look at some of the ways they calculate the numbers, communities that are perceived to be wealthy get penalized over and over again. You could have a community of families who bought their houses 30 years ago and have been on a fairly steady income. The house may have gone up, $500,000 in 30 years, but their salary did not go up that much, yet their taxes continued to grow and grow and grow. So our community is one of many around this area, especially on the North Shore, where the actual net school spending for our communities is far outpacing, and it's getting even more dramatic, as you can see by this chart, if you just focus on that top line versus the bottom red graphs. I would ask you, if you have the opportunity, to submit a letter to the state, and I can send out the email, that really outlines, and you can use some of the information that's in my letter that outlines some of the problems that we run into as a small school district, two small communities that are perceived to be wealthy enough to just pay their own way. As you can see here, the reality is not what it's perceived to be. So just asking if, I'll send out the information to everybody directly, you can take it, but I would just ask if you can take 45 minutes to submit something to the state. They're asking for stuff for another few weeks. I went to the listening session at Masco, kind of gathered some info, and then wrote my own position paper from the position of superintendent of schools, but it certainly fits each of you in your position, so feel free to use any of that information. So I'm just requesting that people take time, even if it's one from each board. It's a good opportunity for us to get this on the table so they can make some substantial changes to Chapter 70 funding on behalf of districts like ours that are penalized year after year after year after year. Thank you, sorry.
Eric, is it multiple factors that drive it, or is there one that stands out?
No, it's multiple. It's multiple factors, and it really, we haven't been able to figure out how they calculate it. We literally have sat down, come close. I think there are 30-something factors that this formula is derived from, but it is really complex, which is a whole separate problem, because you should be able to calculate what you're going to receive in Chapter 78 fairly easily. They do publish the numbers, but it's hard to follow. It's really hard. It's an extremely complex formula. I can send you out the whole, this is how they calculate Chapter 70. It's a booklet. So
Yeah, send it over.
I will. I'll send it out to everybody.
Eric, I just have a question about the reimbursement rate. I believe the number I heard for Chapter 90, money that comes back to the towns in general, is about 26% of our tax revenue. Is there a percentage of what comes back in the form of Chapter 70?
So it's approximately right now 10% of net school. It's the highest it's been that I tracked back was about 15%, but that's when your budgets were much, much smaller, much more manageable. You know, 15% of 8 million is a different number than 10% of 50 million. So it's right now just slightly above 10%. Yep. So just a commercial to ask for help.
Is there an active committee working on that?
There is. They have a committee that's been going around the state doing listening sessions, but you can also submit online. They did one online yesterday, but you can use their email and send them your thoughts via email. I will send everybody 3 things tomorrow: my paper, the email address, and how they calculate Chapter 70. It's fairly extensive and fascinating too. But I think it's just as many people as we can get to submit and make the point, because these small districts around here are suffering.
Do you know if they've gotten to the point of drafting legislation? Is there an HR number yet or not?
Nope. They just asked this committee to start doing the kind of the sessions around town, around the state, I mean. DLR, I just found out, is also looking at transportation, which is new. That's something new as well, to see about the fairness of transportation and transportation contracts. Up until this past year, we didn't have any competitive bidders. We had one bidder, and they got the bid. That happened in many, many, many school districts being controlled from a larger scale conglomerate that is a national that bought up the local school district, school busing companies, and said, okay, we're going to put this company on these 2 schools, this company on these 4, so they were basically just divvying it up. So there is, so I'll look into that as well, because transportation costs are also not reimbursed at the rate that's required by state law. It's underfunded every single year. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, no. Anybody have anything else? All right, looks like we're done. Okay. So you guys are not.
Yeah, we're fine.
So,
We're not an official meeting over here.
So I guess we'll need to adjourn one at a time.
Can I get a motion from the FinCom to close here at, what time is it?
7:45.
7:45.
So moved.
So move, looking for second. Vote.
Second.
Vote aye. Unanimous on our side, thank you.
And the Wenham Select Board to adjourn at 7:45. Vote.
I move that the Hamilton Wenham School Committee adjourn at 7:45 PM.
Do I have a second? Second by Julia. All those in favor? That is unanimous of the 6 members present, and we are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, all.